What's up, all? So again, as I said in my previous video, I don't know what the deal is, but it seems that every single year when I'm vlogging, when the Stanley Cup Finals end and the Seattle Storm start playing, I have computer issues. So let's try this again. We're gonna preview the Seattle Storm. This is a late preview, obviously, because they're already playing. But we'll talk about what they did in the offseason. We'll talk about the LJ situation, and then we'll talk about where the team, the expectations, and where the team is at this point of the season. This video is being filmed on June 22nd, 2012, and believe it or not, the Storm are playing the Silver Stars, the San Antonio Silver Stars right now. I hope we can beat Becky Hammond. Yeah. I'll just Becky Hammond. But I'm just gonna end with that. Anyway, and any WNBA fan knows what I'm talking about. So anyway, what we did in the offseason, the Seattle Storm ended up trading away Swim Cash, and they traded her to get the #2 overall draft pick in the WNBA draft. Now, at first, when I thought about this, I thought, why in the world are we trading away a cornerstone of our team? Swim Cash has a very good veteran presence on the team. She helps a lot with she helped a lot with Sue Bird. Was on the 2010 team that went all the way, won a championship. Why would you trade her away? Now that being said, I'm not the type of sports fan who's going to obsess over prospects. I mean, the only time I watch college prospects is when I'm watching the Washington Huskies. And the only time I'm watching prospects is when I watch the Seattle Thunderbirds. And if one of the Thunderbird players who was drafted by an NHL team doesn't pan out, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. The reason why I say that is because I used to go to their autograph session every year, and I have a bunch of autographs and maybe one or two, maybe three players who went to the NHL and are having or had legitimate careers. But that being said, one of the things that I've been, keep saying over and over and over again is the Seattle Storm need to find Lauren Jackson's replacement. And I think they're moving in the right direction in terms of this, because Jackson's not getting any older. There has been talks about her retiring for years. More on her later. But the Storm went out and drafted a forward out of the University of Tennessee, Shekinna Strickland. Awesome move. I think this is, I'm not saying that Strickland's going to be the best thing ever. She's going to be the next LJ. I'm just saying this is an awesome move because she's a forward. We need to get younger in the post. We need to develop our post game, and we need to do it when Lauren Jackson is playing now, so that way when she does in fact leave, then we can still have that presence in the post. I really do hope that this pans out. I really do. Because now all of a sudden trading Swim Cash and getting a little younger, it makes sense. It makes sense on paper. I'm just hoping it pans out. We got really young. We have a very young team. We got a young bench. I know we still have strong veterans like Tanisha Wright, Sue Bird. We added Tina Thompson, former Houston Comet, the now defunct Houston Comets, unfortunately. We also have Katie Smith. But ultimately, we got a really young bench, and we have a really young team. So it's going to be interesting to see how the season progresses because Brian Agler, the head coach and the GM for the Storm, wanted to bring in some young players because the team was on the cusp of getting a little too old. So I'm really hoping that the bench can look, kind of rise up to Sue Bird's level, Katie Smith's level, Tina Thompson, and all the veterans. Definitely got a younger team than we have in the previous years where we had a real solid veteran team. Like when we won the title in 2010, that was a veteran team. Period. There was one, maybe two, players, young players on the team, but for the most part, that was a veteran team. That was a team that was built to win it at that particular year. So let's look at what they did in the offseason. For the LJ situation. Now, for those who don't know, Lauren Jackson is is not playing with the Storm right now. She is training for the Olympics for the Australian team to play for, and is going to play for her country. The WNBA will take a summer break, and once that happens, then after that happens, they'll resume play. At this point in your career, if you want to play for your home country in the Olympics and try and win a gold medal, be my guest. Seriously. You're talking 2, possibly 3 WNBA MVP years. You've you've helped us win not 1 but 2 WNBA championships, and you're arguably not just one of the most dominant forwards in the league. You're one of the most dominant forwards in the world. So you can do what you want. LJ, in my opinion, has earned that right to make a decision like this and say, you know what, sorry Seattle, I'm going to play for my home country. Fine. In other words, all we need to do is survive without her. And that's where we're having some difficulty. Even though the Seattle Storm are playing right now, I'm hoping that they get their 4th win of the year. I'm going to round out the Western Conference standings. First place, you got the Minnesota Lynx. Second place, Los Angeles Sparks. Third place, San Antonio Silver Stars. In 4th, you got Seattle. 5th, Phoenix. And in 6th, the Tulsa Shock. Also formerly known as the Detroit Shock, unfortunately. In the Eastern Conference, here's what it looks like. You got the Chicago Sky in the 1st seed, Connecticut Sun in the 2nd, Indiana 3, Atlanta is in 4th, the New York Liberty in 5th, and the Washington Mystics are in 6th place. Rounding out the conference. Now, the Storm have come out struggling. They have. As we look at their stats, they only got 2 players in double figures. Sue Bird, 12.6 points a game, and then Tina Thompson with 10.2. Ann Waters is on the borderline in double digits with 9.5. Couple players I think that need to step up are Camille Little and Tanisha Wright. Only averaging 8.2 points a game and 7.4 points a game. Rebounding is kind of at this point without Lauren Jackson. If you look at rebounding category with the forwards positions, Strickland's only averaging 3.4 rebounds a game as of right now. Leading us in rebounds is Ann Waters, a former player of Sue Bird. They've met many times. Their career has passed throughout their playing days. So right now the Seattle Storm sit right now at 3-7, but they still are in a playoff position. Now, the thing that really does stink about the WNBA is, and I know people are going to say, like, whoa, wait a minute, you can't say this, but it might be a stretch, but bear with me. The WNBA is kind of like the NFL, okay? Now, I know people are like, huh? Like, what the? Okay, hear me out. In the NFL, you got 16 games. That's not a lot of games. I mean, you either go out and you take care of business, or you go home, and you go home very quickly. And the WNBA is kind of in the same thing in the sense that there are only 34 to 36 games a year. So the Storm, after tonight, are almost at a third of the way of the season, and they sit at 3-7, or hopefully they'll be 4-7 by the end of tonight. And so if we are going to make a run at this thing and make a run and get a legitimate shot, we need to start doing it now. We can't wait until Lauren Jackson comes back, because then the hole might be too big for us to climb out of. The good thing is, now our 3 victories have come against the Tulsa Shock. We've taken them down twice. And the other one is against the Minnesota Lynx. Now, I am not surprised the Minnesota Lynx are as good as they are right now. They've been down in the dumps forever. When they won the title last year, I was actually kind of happy for them, because they're one of the few teams in the WNBA who just were constantly struggling on the court and everything, and yet they're still here. They're still around. There's still that survival, technique, or that survival part of what is the WNBA. There's many teams that will do very well, and when they do, they make money. When they don't, they either fold or move. And the Minnesota Lynx, and even, I'll go further, the Washington Mystics, were bad for many years, and they still have been able to survive. So kudos to that. And I bring this up because that win against Minnesota is huge. It's absolutely huge. It puts the Storm in the 4th playoff position as of right now instead of the 5th. And all we need to do is we need to hang around a playoff position. because the expectations this year is to go to the playoffs and win at least one postseason round. I mean, it's our Achilles heel. I don't know what it is. It just seems that the Storm will have an unbelievable season after unbelievable season, and it just crashes and burns 9 times out of 10, in the first round. And we saw what happened last year. And the reason, well, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but part of me actually thinks if we can get past the first round, there's a good chance we can go all the way. And the reason why I say that is because the 2 times we have gotten past the first round, we have gone all the way. We've only won the first round twice, and that was 2004, 2010. So hopefully the Storm can rebound. It's going to be, I do expect some growing pains this year with pretty much everything, shooting, maybe not passing because with Sue Bird and Tanisha Wright are really good with putting up assists, but definitely don't expect the Storm to be amazing per se, but don't expect them to be horrible. I think they will hang around. They'll hang around just long enough. And then when LJ comes back, everything's going to change, and they're going to be a completely different team. And if we don't make the playoffs, as I said with the Sounders, I'll come in and I'll talk about why we did not make the playoffs. So there's your preview for the Seattle Storm. Let's go Seattle. And I will be going to at least 2 Storm games this year. I'll be going to, my buddy collects bobbleheads, and he wanted to go to the 2 bobblehead nights, which were Sue Bird and Lauren Jackson, so I'll be hitting those games up. And I do plan to be filming. I do plan to film parts of those games, and hopefully I'll be able to put something together for you guys to see in regards to Seattle Storm basketball. It's been, we've hit up the T-Birds, we've hit up the Mariners, the Seahawks, the Sounders. Time to show the Storm some love on the Pugs Thoughts in the Doghouse. So, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later.